This is just a sample of the audiobook. To get the complete audiobook, access the link posted in the first comment.
Emilio Vega pulled the old Mercedes-Benz into the driveway of the collapsed farmhouse located in Park City, Kentucky. 2 months had passed since the conflict in New York between his resistance cell and the global order. While hiding underground with the Jews in Williamsburg, Billy's leg had healed, Michelle's headaches from her concussion had ceased, and the rest of the group had recovered from the stress of battle. Mackenzie pushed the driver's side door open and stepped out. She opened the back door and offered her hand to the strong and battle-worn Billy. "Take it easy getting up. You remember what Lieber said about your leg?" Billy's eyes seemed to quickly take in her slim figure and straight black hair. He smiled at her. "I'm fine. You can quit babying me." He winced as he stepped out of the vehicle. "You see?" Mackenzie grabbed his hand. "What did I tell you?" He was slow to take his hand away from hers. "It's not the bullet hole. My leg is asleep. 3 of us have been crammed in the back seat since West Virginia." Michelle, who was thinner than Mackenzie with long brown hair, crawled out after Billy. "At least you had a window seat. I've been stuck in the middle." Roy, the old U.S. Army sergeant, exited the other side of the vehicle. "You'll best be grateful that we made it back at all. And we're nothing short of a miracle, the Lord bringing us home in one piece." He's right. At 6 feet 2 inches, Emilio stood taller than the others. He stretched his back and looked around. The land looked nothing like it had before the locusts came, and before blood and fire had rained from above. He looked at the burnished sky. He'd hoped to put in a garden. June had arrived, but even the weeds had yet to begin growing again since the last assault from the angry heavens. "We best begin on back over to the igloo," said Roy. The igloo was the code name for the giant underground militia compound set up inside Mammoth Cave. Emilio snapped out of his trance. "I'd appreciate it if you'd help me clear the cave. I want to be sure no one has found it and decided to set up shop in our absence. We can put in a call to the igloo over the radio. Let them know you're on your way home." "We can do that." Roy looked at Michelle and Billy. "You'll get your guns ready." Mackenzie slung her rifle and her pack over her shoulder, closed the door, and walked briskly toward the cave. "I can't wait to get cleaned up, even if it's only 3 liters of warm water in a camping shower." "I second that motion." Michelle walked close behind them. "I've got a box of those small New Testament Bibles from my dad," said Mackenzie. "Michelle, you and Roy can both have one." "What about me?" asked Billy. "I've got a genuine faux leather-bound large print edition of the New King James for you." She winked at him. Emilio tightened his jaw over the exchange. "Everyone stay focused. We don't know what we're walking into." Upon seeing signs of human activity near the entrance to the cave, Emilio held up his fist, signaling for the others to stop. He saw a plastic bin he used for washing dishes in the creek. It was turned upside down with a damp rag laying across the top to dry. People were utilizing the cave. He signaled for the others to proceed with caution and raised his gun. He heard voices inside. Emilio stepped lightly over the narrow bridge which crossed the creek and allowed access into the cave. Once inside, he could make out the forms of the invaders against the low light of a small fire. He motioned for the others to form up on either side of him. He called out to the trespassers, "Nobody move! You're in our cave!" The occupants all put their hands up. A slim female with blonde hair turned around to face him. "Emilio, don't shoot." He lowered the barrel of his rifle. "Jessica, what are you doing here?" She kept her hands up. "We thought you were dead. I'm so sorry. You never showed up at the rendezvous point, and we never heard from you." Emilio looked around at the 5 other people inside his cave. "That's okay. You can all put your hands down. But why aren't you at the igloo?" The second person Emilio recognized was David, the man with the bald head. He was sitting beside Jessica. "We got kicked out." Emilio recognized the 4 others as being Albert, Eddie, Fred, and Taylor, all team leaders from the 3 Percenters group. Roy wrinkled his brow. "Kicked out?" "Yeah." Jessica returned to her seat. "Dom took over the igloo. With Hinkle gone, there was a power vacuum. I tried to assume control, at least until we knew for sure whether or not Roy was coming back. The Boogaloo boys weren't having it." "Well, I'm back now," said Roy. "We'll head on over there and straighten this whole thing out." "Good luck with that," said David. "Dom kicked out everyone in upper-level leadership positions from Oath Keepers and the 3 Percenters. At the threat of being shot, Jessica added,